What is more important, money or family? Our heroes face the same question. A family home and the close relationship of a brother and sister, or selling the house for a dubious husband and his business. Years later, our heroes meet again at the house where they spent their childhood and remember their adventures. It's movie recap zone, how it all worked out and where their reunion leads. You'll find out in this retelling. Enjoy the movie. At the beginning of the film, we are shown childhood videos of the film's characters. Then we see Emily. The girl was walking in the woods. She recalled her childhood, which she spent with her family in the mountain. A car was standing by the road. The heroine's boyfriend Andreas was waiting for her. Having finished the walk, the couple drove on. They came to the Swiss Alps. Emily and her brother Jacob received a house as an inheritance. The heroine found a way to get into the house. She opened the windows to let fresh air into the room. From the window she could see Andreas talking on the phone. Emily looked into the pantry. She hadn't been in the house in a while and had forgotten what was stored there. After a while, the boys were finishing things up in the kitchen. Emily washed the dishes. Her boyfriend was making notes in the working papers. The girl wanted to talk to Andreas, but she didn't dare to do so. From the window, Emily noticed a familiar silhouette. It was her brother Jacob. Behind the guy's back was a skateboard. He was a professional skateboarder. The girl was glad to meet her brother. They hadn't seen each other for a long time. Andreas also came out to say hello to the guy. The heroes entered the house. Jacob took a room in the attic. As a child, this is where he often slept. The hero cleaned the bed from dust and laid out his things. Emily woke up in the night. She approached her brother's room. Jacob was not asleep. The boy was listening to music. Early in the morning, the stranger went hiking. Hikers often hiked in the Swiss Alps. Emily sat on the porch outside the house. Andreas was chatting on the phone. The girl was watching him. After the conversation, the guy hugged the heroine. Andreas needed to go to the city. He offered to take some of the things out of the house. In the afternoon, the guy helped Emily pack valuable things into boxes for transport. Jacob watched this from the street. The hero decided to take a little walk. The guy went to the shop. There he saw a newspaper. On the front page was information about a black panther which was seen in the mountains. Jacob bought the newspaper. Andreas put his things in the car. Emily and Andreas hugged each other. The girl walked the boy to the car. Near the car they hugged again. On the way, Andreas saw Jacob. He told about Emily being alone in the house. Jacob did not want to communicate with his sister's boyfriend. The hero returned home. At home, the girl was doing something outside the house. Jacob was unhappy that the sister and her boyfriend started moving things out of the house. He told about everything to Emily. The girl was surprised. Earlier they had agreed with her brother that they would sell the house. She needs money for business. The hero went to his room. He decided to read an article about the panther. Emily was talking on the phone on the ground floor. The subject of the conversation interested the guy. He left the room to hear the information better. Because of the business the heroine was doing with her boyfriend, Emily had debts. Later, the hero was checking the electricity in the room. He thought about his sister's problems. Jacob decided to talk to the girl. It was raining outside. Emily was filling out some documents. Guy put the article about the panther on her desk. He wanted his sister to pay attention to him. Jacob started growling like a big cat. This amused the girl. Later, Emily was walking down a dark corridor. Jacob jumped out at her from around the corner. This scared and amused the girl. She went upstairs to her room. Through the unlocked door, Jacob saw Emily changing her clothes. The boy cut out the article about the panther. He put it on the wall. In the morning, Jacob took the old motorbike out of the garage. He decided to repair the vehicle. Rolling the motorbike around the yard, the hero brought it to a working condition. He offered his sister to ride together. The couple went for a ride. Emily enjoyed the pleasure of a fast ride. Two heroes arrived at the mountains. Jacob needed to take a leak. His sister watched him do it. There was a lake at the foot of the mountain. They walked to it. Together they decided to rest and lay down on the rocks. Emily wanted to talk to Jacob about life. The boy told her about the panther they had spotted in the mountains. He showed his sister the place that had been captured in the photo in the newspaper. In the evening, the heroes drove home. On the motorway, they noticed a stranger. The heroes stopped. They saw the unknown man walk towards the woods. Emily was going through things in the wardrobe. Jacob was lying on the bed in his room. She put on an old dress. Borrowing, the girl threw the guy a jumper. The heroine changed her clothes again. She decided to act out a scene from their past in front of her brother. However, he was not amused. Emily changed her clothes again. At lunchtime, the heroines did the laundry. Emily hung the sheets outside. Her brother was helping her. The hero decided to touch the girl through the fabric. They began to have fun. When the guys were resting on deck chairs, Emily had a dream. In the dream, she and her brother got closer. Opening her eyes, the heroine realized that it was a dream. She looked at the sleeping Jacob for a long time. After a while, the boys went to explore together the area near the house. The director again showed us footage from their childhood. The heroes decided to take a nap in the forest. People passed by them. Jacob woke up. He realized that the strangers were looking for someone. The boys briefly joined them. In the evening, Emily and Jacob gathered branches into a huge pile. They wanted to spend the night in nature. Jacob built a shelter for them. At dusk, they could see animals running around at the foot of the mountains. Emily woke up early in the morning because of a strong wind. The heroes chose a place from which they would have a good view of the dawn. They climbed up to the top. Jacob enjoyed the first rays of the sun. Then the boys climbed up the mountain. Emily decided to play a prank on her brother. She threw a small rock at him and started to run away. Jacob caught up with his sister. They lay on the ground for a while. The girl rebraided her braid. Jacob looked up at the mountain tops. Emily braided a snail in her hair. The boys got to the top. They looked at the view from the top. After the walk, Jacob changed into clean clothes. He was in his bedroom. Suddenly, Emily walked in on the guy. His sister wanted to sit next to him. Jacob watched her. The heroine wanted to fulfill her fantasies from the dream. She took off her dirty clothes. Jacob also finished undressing. The couple decided to have fun after the walk. They had an active time in Jacob's bedroom. Later, the guys went to a cafe. The waiter poured them wine. The heroes discussed what had happened between them. Jacob was glad that his sister revealed her real feelings to him. He had been in love with her for a long time. Then the heroes sat down separately. Jacob watched Emily. The girl was pleased with the guy's attention. She smiled at him. When the hero moved away from the table to admire the area, Emily looked at him with admiration. Jacob returned to the table. He offered the heroine a drink of wine. The guys kissed. The heroes decided to have fun that day. They caught up with the bus. Emily went swimming in the mountain lake. Jacob watched his sister. The girl was taking a shower. He remembered the fun the two of them had together in the lake. Emily was enjoying those memories too. She hugged the guy. In the evening, the guys enjoyed nature at the foot of the mountains. Emily ignored the rings of the mobile phone. The guys came back home. There was an unfamiliar man outside their house. He was interested in the chalet. Emily replied something vague. This surprised Jacob. The guy thought that his sister had changed her mind on the issue of selling their house. The girl sat in the room. She was reading a message on her phone. After thinking a little, Emily put the phone aside. Early in the morning, the heroine crawled on all fours to her brother's room. She wanted to give him a foot massage. That woke the guy up. He was in no mood to play with his sister. Jacob did not understand what she wanted. The girl showed the hero how much she loved him. She fell asleep next to her brother. In the morning, Jacob watched Emily sleep in his bed. He waited until the girl woke up to talk to her. Jacob and Emily went out into the yard. They needed to discuss their future plans together. Emily cried. Her brother wanted her to break up with Andreas. Jacob went to the mountains by himself. Night fell. Emily couldn't sleep. There were too many thoughts in her head. While her brother was away, she made a big fire. The next day, Andreas came back. The boy arrived early in the morning. Emily was asleep. The guy woke her up. He suggested to continue packing. Emily agreed. She watched her boyfriend load things into the car. The girl was sad. Jacob came back. From afar, he watched what was going on in their house. The guy went inside without paying attention to his sister. Andreas decided that Jacob was in a bad mood. Here, the hero decided to leave. He packed his things. Emily watched her brother's actions. Andreas reported that he had found a buyer for the house. Jacob signed the documents. He left. Emily caught up with the hero. She did not want to part with him, however. She needed money for her business. She hugged the guy and cried. Andreas walked away. Jacob decided to go too. He picked up the things he had left at the house. Emily stood in the road. She thought about whether she had done the right thing. The house was deserted. The heroine and her boyfriend went into town. Jacob went to the mountains. Andreas stopped by to take care of some business. Emily put his signature on the documents. She got out of the car and walked into the woods. Andreas saw that the girl signed the document. The guy saw Emily walking down the road towards the woods. He got in the car and drove the other way. Emily was walking through the woods. Jacob was putting his thoughts in order. He climbed to the top of the mountain. The heroine came out of the forest refreshed. Write in the comments, what would you do if you were the heroine? What's more important, keeping her parents' house and her relationship with her brother, or selling the house for her dodgy husband's business? This was the 2014 film Black Panther. See you in the next retellings.